Hello, welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy You by Olivia Julius. You sit on the edge of your bed, staring at the mirror propped against the wall. The evening light filters through the thin curtains, casting soft shadows that play across your face, your frame, your everything. It's all familiar, so much so that it feels foreign, like a costume you've worn for too long. Your reflection stares back, and you wish it didn't look quite so much like you. The broad shoulders, the square jaw, the untamed mop of hair that never sits quite right, it's not who you are. At least, not who you feel you are. You close your eyes and let out a sigh, wishing, for what feels like the millionth time, that the mirror showed someone else. Someone who felt real. The thought creeps in again, like it always does, what if? What if your voice didn't feel so heavy in your throat? What if your hands were smaller, your movements softer, your body different? You try not to dwell on it, because thinking too hard about it makes your chest tighten, like you're carrying some weight you're not strong enough to lift. But the thought doesn't leave. It never does. You've tried to shake it off, to bury it under soccer games, video games, and every other distraction you could find. Yet here you are again, with that quiet longing curling up beside you, as familiar as a friend you've never admitted you had. The world outside your room feels impossibly big, filled with rules about who you're supposed to be. You've always been told you're a boy. A boy. 3 letters that are supposed to define everything about you, from the way you talk to the clothes you wear to the future you're supposed to want. But the word feels wrong, like a shoe that's just a little too tight, no matter how much you try to break it in. You open your eyes and glance at the mirror again, almost daring it to change. You imagine what it would be like if it did. Long hair cascading past your shoulders, a smile that feels more your own, eyes that light up because, finally, the person staring back looks like you. The thought fills you with a mix of warmth and fear. What would people say? What would your parents think? Your friends? The questions tumble over themselves, 1,000 sharp edges you can't escape. But underneath the fear, there's something else, something quieter but stronger. Hope. You lie back on your bed, staring at the cracks in the ceiling. You don't know what's next. Maybe nothing changes. Maybe everything does. But as you close your eyes, you let yourself dream, just for a moment, of a world where you don't have to wish anymore. A world where you can just be. You're 10 years old, sitting cross-legged on the carpet in your room, a space filled with things people expect you to love. Toy cars, action figures, a soccer ball you barely touched after your last game. But none of it feels right, not really. Your eyes wander over to the dress-up box in the corner. It's technically your sister's, but you've always been drawn to it, like a secret you're too scared to share. The mirror on your closet door catches your reflection, and you frown. There you are, in a plain t-shirt and shorts, hair messy from a day of running around outside because that's what boys are supposed to do. But as you look at yourself, something feels off. Not in a way you can explain, even if someone asked. It's like a puzzle piece that doesn't fit, no matter how much you try to press it into place. You glance at the box again, and your heart starts beating faster. Inside are clothes your sister grew out of, dresses, scarves, even a pair of sparkly shoes that always catch the light just right. You've seen her spin around in them, her laughter filling the room like music. You've always wondered what it feels like, to spin like that, to feel light and free and yourself. But boys don't wear sparkly shoes, do they? Boys don't wear dresses or ribbons in their hair. At least, that's what everyone says. That's what your parents say when they smile and ruffle your hair, calling you their little man. That's what the kids at school say when they laugh at anything, even a little bit different. So, you stay quiet, because what else can you do? Still, the thought won't go away. You sit there, staring at the box, until you can't ignore it anymore. Your feet carry you across the room before your brain catches up. You kneel down and open the lid, your hands trembling like you're doing something forbidden. The first thing you see is a pink dress with little flowers on it, soft to the touch. You hold it up against your chest and glance at the mirror again. Your reflection looks different now. Not completely, but enough. Enough to make you feel something you've never felt before, something like happiness, or maybe relief. It's like a tiny flame flickering inside you, warming you up from the inside out. You slip the dress over your head, the fabric is cool against your skin. It's too short and a little snug, but it doesn't matter. For the first time, the mirror feels like it's telling the truth. You spin, just like you've seen your sister do, and even though you're clumsy, you can't stop smiling. The moment doesn't last long. There's a knock at your door, and you freeze, your heart pounding. You pull the dress off as quickly as you can, stuffing it back into the box. By the time your mom pokes her head in to call you for dinner, you're back to being her little man, sitting on the carpet like nothing happened. But something did happen. And even though you don't have the words to explain it yet, you know it's important. You know it's real. As you follow your mom downstairs, you can still feel the weight of the dress, light as air, like it's wrapped around your heart. You don't know when you'll be brave enough to tell anyone. Maybe not tomorrow, or next week, or even next year. But as you sit at the dinner table, surrounded by the chatter of your family, you hold on to the secret like a treasure, safe and hidden, for now. Because even at 10 years old, you know one thing for sure. You wish you could be her. You sit at the dinner table, the hum of family conversations swirling around you, but it's like background noise, distant, almost muted. Your fork idly pushes food around your plate, your mind a million miles away. They don't know. How could they? You look the part they expect, play the role they've assigned, and you've gotten so good at it that sometimes even you believe it. But tonight, it feels heavier than usual, like a mask that doesn't quite fit. Your mom asks how school was, and you mumble something non-committal. Good. Fine. The words come automatically, and she smiles and moves on. Your dad is talking about his day at work, and your sister is texting under the table, her phone lighting up her face every few seconds. It's all so normal, so ordinary, but you feel like you're sitting in a different room entirely, watching a life that doesn't quite feel like yours. The weight of your secret presses down on you again, the memory of the pink dress still fresh, still vivid. It felt like magic, for those brief, stolen moments. And now, without it, you feel smaller, like a balloon with all the air let out. You glance at your sister, her hair tied up in a messy ponytail, her nails painted a soft lavender. It's not fair how easily it all comes to her, how she gets to just be in a way you can only dream about. Are you okay? Your mom asks suddenly, her voice cutting through the fog in your head. You blink, realizing you've been staring into space. Everyone's looking at you now, waiting. I'm fine, you say quickly, too quickly. You force a smile, one you hope looks convincing, and shove a bite of food into your mouth to avoid any more questions. Your mom frowns, but doesn't push it, turning her attention back to your dad's story. The rest of dinner drags on, and when it's finally over, you bolt upstairs, claiming homework as an excuse. In the safety of your room, you close the door and lean against it, exhaling like you've been holding your breath all evening. The silence wraps around you, familiar and comforting. You find yourself drawn to the mirror again, like it's calling you. This time, though, you don't just stare. You walk over, hesitating only for a second before opening the dress-up box again. The pink dress is right where you left it, crumpled and hidden beneath a scarf. You pull it out, smoothing the fabric with your hands, and slip it on once more. It's still too short, still too snug, but the feeling is the same, a quiet, undeniable sense of rightness. You spin again, slower this time, watching the way the hem flutters around your knees. For a moment, the rest of the world falls away. There's no dinner table, no expectations, no rules about what boys are supposed to do or wear or be. There's just you. And for the first time, you don't feel like you're pretending. You don't feel like you're stuck in someone else's skin. You feel real. You know this can't last forever. Sooner or later, you'll have to take the dress off, tuck it back into the box, and go back to being the person everyone expects. But for now, in this quiet, stolen moment, you let yourself be her. You don't know what the future holds, or when, if, you'll ever be brave enough to tell anyone. But as you stand there, twirling in front of the mirror, a small, fierce voice inside you whispers something you've never let yourself believe before. Maybe one day, this won't have to be a secret. Maybe one day, you'll get to be her all the time. And maybe, just maybe, that day will come sooner than you think. You put on your boy's pajamas and get into bed. You don't know me yet, but I know you. I remember those nights, lying awake with your secrets, clutching them close like fragile glass. I remember staring at that mirror, wishing it would show someone else. Someone real. Someone you. I know because I was you. And now, I'm here. I'm Crystal. I know it's hard to imagine right now. You're just a kid, living in a world that feels like it wasn't built for you. But I want you to know something, it gets better. No, not magically, not easily. But piece by piece, step by step, it does. I know because I lived it. I fought for it. And so will you. You're going to grow up in a world that doesn't always understand you. There will be moments that make you feel small, like the world is too loud, too big, too unwilling to see you. But there will also be moments of joy, of discovery, of strength. There will be people who love you for who you are, who see the girl you've always been, even when the rest of the world doesn't. I wish I could tell you that the road is simple, that the day will come when all your questions will vanish, and everything will make sense. But that's not the truth, and you deserve the truth. It's messy, confusing, and sometimes it feels like too much. But it's also worth it. Every step, every decision, every fight for yourself, it's worth it. Do you want to know how I know? Because I've felt what it's like to stand in front of a mirror and finally see me. Not the version of myself everyone else wanted, but the version I always knew was there. I've felt the weight of years of pretending lift off my shoulders. I've felt the simple, quiet joy of hearing someone call me by my name, Crystal, and knowing they mean me. You'll get there. One day, you'll open that box of memories you're keeping locked away, and you'll let them out. You'll find the words you don't have yet. You'll take that first step, then the next, and then another, until one day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. I want you to remember something, though, because it's easy to forget when the world feels heavy, you're not alone. Even when it feels like no one understands, there's a future waiting for you, a version of you who made it through. That's me, Crystal. And I'm so proud of you already. You'll cry, laugh, stumble, and soar. And through it all, you'll learn that being yourself isn't just an act of courage, it's an act of love. Love for the little girl who used to spin in secret, love for the teenager who took her first step toward becoming herself, and love for the woman who finally gets to live freely. So, keep going. Keep dreaming. Keep holding on to that spark of hope, because one day, it'll grow into something bigger, brighter, a flame that no one can put out. And when you get here, when you become me, you'll know it was all worth it. I promise.